Several people, they want computers that, you know, do everything including cook meals. Hypothetically speaking, of course. Um, they want a top of the line system, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 bucks. Well, what if you cannot afford it, and you, at the same time, you cannot afford the time and effort it takes to protect your system from viruses? Now, I bring this up because if you're going to get Windows Vista, truth be told, you're going to get viruses. Extra money has to be put into virus protection software. Personally, I don't think Windows Defender cuts it, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, let's say you didn't have an awful lot of cash on hand, right? Well, you could look to eBay, and you could buy a used system, but even used laptops are still in the few $100 range. Or, you could go ahead and build your own, and the best place, well, maybe not the best, but one of the most convenient, I guess, for cheap, because I'm not familiar with any swap meets or anything like that, would be to get a case, hard drive, optical power supply, you know, all the necessary hoop de blah, or I should say components, excuse me, all the necessary components to build a computer for super cheap on eBay, and you know, go from there. But wait a moment, you know, don't you have to pay for Windows? Nah. Linux has come quite a way in terms of being usable by the average consumer. Now, why would you want to use Linux over Windows? Well, number one, it's free. This keeps the cost of the computer low, very low. In fact, a lot of those, you know, the Asus EPC and the Acer Aspire one, the reason they are so cheap is because they use low-end components. The reason they use low-end components is because they use Linux. The reason they use Linux is because they can use the low-end components with Linux. It will work perfect. Especially things like the Aspire 1 by Acer, where they've taken the Linux distribution and really customized it to make sure that it runs at top performance on the lowest possible hardware. You know, you just get low-end components, you stuff Linux into it, and voila, you got a really cheap, very stable, and nearly virus-free computer. I say nearly virus-free because the odds of you getting a virus in Linux are very low. However, I don't want to rule it out completely because any system can get viruses. It just takes a matter of knowing what you are doing. But, back to the subject at hand. So, rather than buying a brand new desktop for, you know, $700-800, you could go to eBay, check out some low-end hardware like, say, 512 megs of RAM, 500 megahertz processor. Of course, these would all be used. And a case and other necessary components, and build your system for under 200 bucks total, including operating system. Or, of course, you know, if somebody is willing to trade, you could probably get it for absolutely nothing. If somebody, you know, if somebody really, really, really wants to get rid of their system, they could be selling it for $1. I've seen it happen. I've seen reserves as low as $1. Probably not on computers, but definitely on certain, maybe some computers. Anyway, as low as $1, if they really, really want to get rid of it, they will go ahead and accept any offer. So, you know, if you get extremely lucky and you manage to get this 99-cent computer. You know, you get all your hardware, and if it's operating system free, like I said, just pick a distribution of Linux, go with it. And even off the shelf, Linux is a lot cheaper if you were to actually buy it. The top of the line Linux runs no higher than $100. The top of the line Windows, on the other hand, runs $400. Now, this money goes into keeping the development of the operating system active. Excuse me. But essentially there you have it. So instead of going to the store and purchasing a Windows machine that, while certainly, I'm not saying people are not capable of taking care of their system, they certainly are. But you still have to invest the time and money to get virus protection. And, you know, you have to pay Microsoft for the necessary applications, Office, for example. Linux, on the other hand, not only is it free, but it comes with everything you need. It comes with Office. You can just download a virus protection. Some of them come with virus protection. It's called Clam. But it comes with everything you need, and it's absolutely free. So if you can get low-end hardware and can get a distribution that's compatible with this hardware, you know, you can get a very cheap computer. And like I said, if you turn out really, really lucky, you might be able to get it for even $1. I doubt that would happen often, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does. Like I said, I'm referring to eBay, or maybe Craigslist. You know, that might be another source. But there you go. Or like I said, if somebody's willing to trade you some hardware, you know, if they're just willing, like if it's a family member and they just give it to you, and you can go ahead and put Linux on it, then you've pretty much gotten yourself a free system. Not all Linux distributions are desktop user-friendly, so be aware of that and be cautious. You do want to maybe go into the community and speak to users, try and get a feel for it. You know, but like I said, if you don't want to buy a brand new system and you don't want to have to put up with the cost involvement of Windows, you know, just get some used hardware and put Linux on it. And there you go, you get a pretty darn cheap solution. Thank you for watching. Comments are welcome, and have a nice evening.